Welcome.
Thank you. Good to be here.
Great, great. Thank you very much for honoring us this evening. We don't take it for granted.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, we start. I know a lot of people will have a lot of questions for you. And as always, I know you were ready. Now, you are somebody who is globally recognized as wealth attitude modeling expert and master of wealth creation. And we can already see moving from VODP, very ordinary disabled person, to VVIP, very, very important personality globally. So we want to ask the question, who is Ugochukwu Omeogu?
Okay. First off, I want to appreciate the privilege to be on this platform. I do not take it lightly. Kali, you're somebody I respect a lot. You've done quite a lot. You inspire me the kind of achievements you've been able to attain in your life. So it's a humble experience to be on your platform, to be given the privilege to be here.
Ugo, thank you very much. We cannot just say how privileged we are to have you. We know how much your programs are prized. They are prized in millions, but you're giving us this opportunity to tap from your wealth. So, very quickly, because we're not going to leave you until we've been able to tap enough. And I know you need to rest because I know your itinerary is always busy. But the point we wanted to make is, can you tell us, who is Ugochukwu? Now, it's not about, your name or what, which you already know. It's about what's the makeup of Ugochukwu. If you ask me, having gone to school with you, having been your friend for more than 25 years, if you ask me who is Ugochukwu, I would say Ugochukwu is the daring machine. He can dare anything. Yeah. So, but from you, who is Ugochukwu? What is that thing that makes Ugochukwu tick?
Okay. Thank you for that question. I look at myself as an embodiment of the image and the power of God. When I say God,
Please,
I don't mean
we'll be interrupting you because you are always very deep. Please, I'm sorry. We'll be interrupting you.
Okay, it's fine.
An image, because we need to write these things down. I am writing down. An image and what? Embodiment.
And the embodiment of God.
Of God. Please explain.
And God. So what I mean God, not in the religious terms.
Yeah.
It's in the terms of the capacity to be anything that I want, to change my form, to be able to learn anything, to adapt to any situations, and still control that particular situation to suit my capacity to perform. So I don't look at myself as a bunch of flesh or a mortal being that is just moving around endlessly. I look into myself as the spark of power, energy that can change form into any time to be whatever or whoever that I want to be. So I look at myself as a creative being. And that is why anything that I do, I always prosper in it because I see myself as the factor that controls other variables.
Wow, that's great. Now, conquering disability, which is a mental thing, is not easy. Now, how did you conquer physical challenge? Our question is not around physical challenge because you have broken every glass ceiling ever. So, but why we wanted to start from that point of departure is to make sure that people don't think it's just because, you were born with a golden spoon, everybody was there helping, everybody helped, people helped. But you see, people should understand, that behind this glory, there were work, there were nights that were, lonely. So now, how did you conquer physical challenge? What was the major ingredient that made you conquer physical challenge?
Thank you, Gary. That question is very, touchy and personal. First of all, I would like to disappoint you. I don't have physical challenge. I think people who don't see my power have their own physical challenge. If you're not able to see my power, my energy, and then that person who's not able to see that is the person that is disabled. I've seen a lot of disabled people. The disabled people, they have legs walking around, their mind is not working. So I have never for one day considered myself, not consider, I'm not, because if your mind is working, if you can learn something and be able to do something for what you learn and create value for someone else, and someone can benefit from your existence, then you are useful. So there are so many people who are physically disabled in terms of their legs is working, but their brains are useless. When I mean useless, I mean they are not using their brain. So they are not using their brain. So they are physically disabled because their body is useless. The entire body system is not working because they are not creating anything. So, but in terms of the challenges of moving around because of the physical challenge, when you're successful, you have a way of creating resources that can take away the impediments of buildings, of driving a car, all of the things that I'm supposed to be able to do by myself based on my physical strength. Some of them I delegate to people who are working with me, who are very resourceful as well. Some of the areas that you travel to and there is no means of getting up, you can reschedule a meeting that is meant for a 10th floor, and because of how valuable you are, the person you are seeing will come down the change the meeting location, because remember what I said, you are the factor that changes the variables. So in terms of the physical challenges, I understand that. So I think it's what I go through every day, like anybody else who goes around trying to navigate through the physical world. But as a matter of fact, I'm yet to understand that word as it is.
Oh, wonderful. So let's give you some few minutes, maybe 10 or 15, to take us through the biology of poverty and the chemistry of wealth creation. Now, what we mean by the biology, which you already know, which is something you bring, is, how those poverty move from our physiology to our anatomy to every part of us. Somebody said that, what do you call it? Poverty starts in your mind before it settles in your pocket. So also tell us the chemistry, the chemicals, the things you can mix together before you can get wealth. Because for me, wealth is the easiest thing to create, but wealth is not the simplest thing to create. Now, the easy, because if, for instance, Einstein has done something, an invention, immediately he has brought the recipe, I can use it to duplicate and leverage what he's done. That is why it is easy. But if I am careless about that, thinking it's simple, I cannot actually replicate that. Having said that, wealth is easy but not simple. Now, can you show us the biology of poverty and the chemistry of wealth creation?
Okay, thank you. I think in the biology of poverty, first of all, nobody is born poor or rich.
Wow.
You're born as a human being. You are born with the DNA of any other human being. Bill Gates' son or daughter does not have a super gene, or Albert Einstein's children don't have super gene. So everybody on earth is born equal, genetically wise. But as you begin to grow up, your exposure of your genes, your brain cells are being exposed to certain environmental factors, philosophies, conditions that begin to shape your gene to act in certain forms. So the biology of poverty is talking about how your neurons, your brain has been conditioned based on environment, based on people that talk to you, based on exposure that conditions your gene to see lack as a natural state of being. Lack is not a natural state of being. If there's anything that is natural state of being, is abundance. So most of us think that we are born poor. Nobody's born poor or rich. We are born as a human being. And meaning that you are born with the capacity to learn anything. So the poverty that people go through is a learned behavior. It's something they learned, something they were exposed to. It's something that the environment conditioned them. Because they were not aware of the difference between lack and abundance, they assume or believe that they were born poor. And I guess that's why it's difficult for a poor man to convince me that things are difficult. Because things are not difficult. People are simply untrained, undeveloped. Okay? So the biological poverty simply means that, as everyone listening to me right now, you are not born with any disadvantage or advantage over anybody. Your genetic code at birth, except for diseases, for genetic disorders, all of those kind of things that you cannot control. But as far as your capacity to listen to me in this class right now, you are listening, you are reasoning, you're having some cognitive mental activity going on. You can understand what I'm saying and you can summarize what I'm saying. If you are poor and you're listening to me right now, it's a condition of your mind over years and years and years. That's what biological poverty is. So now put this. Wealth is psychological.
Wealth is psychological.
Gender, yes. Gender is genetic. So you are born either a male or female. That's what it is. Nobody's born poor or rich. You're born male or female. At birth, you're neither poor or rich. If your father is Dangote and you are born in Dangote's house as a male or female child, and someone takes you away from Dangote at the age of 2 months and takes you to a poor man's house, a poor environment, in as much as you have the DNA of Dangote, the blood running into your vein, run through your veins, and another person who is born poor is going to talk to your psychology, talk to your mind, you're going to come out a very poor person, even though you have Dangote's DNA. But if someone gives birth to a child and that person is a poor person, and you take that child and send that child to Dangote, and Dangote raises that child, trains that child, talks to his brain, exposes him over and over again to a particular type of conditioning or environment or exposure or philosophy, that child is going to grow becoming a wealthy man, even though in his blood is the blood of So wealth is psychological, okay? And what you do with your genes. The gene is just a male or female. But if you ever have to be wealthy, I want you to know right now that your brain has the capacity to learn new things. As I'm speaking to you right now, if you're 30, if you're 40, if you're 45, and you're struggling with creating wealth, struggling with making things happen, I want you to know you're only responding to what has been already programmed in your mind. You can change that today, and that function of the brain is called neuroplasticity, which means your brain can change form every day, every minute, every second of your life. You can develop a new brain.
Wow. Thank you very much. Now, very specifically, what are some of the wealth creation processes? I know you can exhaust them, but maybe give us the foundation of wealth creation. You've talked about changing your mind. A lot of people will tell you, I have changed my mind a million times. I have powerful ideas. The only problem I have is that the government is not interested in supporting me. So as far as they're concerned, the only problem is the government. And they're telling you, we are waiting for 2023. 3 years ago, they said they were waiting for 2019. Okay? So very quickly, can you start laying background for us about what are the foundational truths you must know about building wealth?
Okay, thank you, Kali. There are different ramifications, different ways you can look at this subject. There's so many things to say. First of all, we can talk about vision, which is a different topic for another day. We can talk about imaginations, which is in itself a phenomenon. But what I want to say is that humans are creatures of habit. We are creatures of habit. So in the wealth creation process, if you don't do anything, if you sit down in your house and you do nothing, you'll become poor. So you don't need to do anything to be poor. It's a status that will happen without doing anything. You don't have to plan to be poor. You don't have to, strategize how to be poor. But if you desire to be wealthy, you've got to do something. So now, if you don't do anything, poverty will do you. You will become poor. You don't have to. I don't know how else I can explain that.
I can understand.
If the concept of wealth, yes, if you want to be wealthy, then you're going to be deliberate about it. Okay. Now, why is it difficult for some people not to see that everything they need is already with them? It's because they have formed the habit of dependency on external factors. So when they blame government, they are not blaming government. They are just justifying their status of poverty. They are not blaming government, because in the same economy that we are in, some people are still with the same bad government. They are doing well. They are building new companies. They're building new products. They're importing things. They're doing pretty much well. In the same economy that you're saying government is the reason why, which I agree. I mean, it's part of the challenges we face in Africa, but that is not enough reason for an individual not to do well. Okay, so the act of blaming is when someone has gotten to the point where he or she does not realize that no matter the circumstances he or she finds himself, he still has the ability to learn his way out of it. I'm not going to say this. Whatever you are today, you learn your way into it. If you don't like it, you can learn your way out of it.
Wow.
Same way you have to go to school, fill up a JAM form, fill medicine, and you intentionally fill a course. And then after that, the course you fill determines the teacher that teach you. So if you decided to fill a form for medicine, which means medical doctors and medical practitioners are the ones that will teach you. Once you choose that course, the teachers will show up. But not many people have chosen wealth as a course. Like, today being the 15th of February, you take a paper and write, I am going to start a course on wealth. Once you make that determination, wealthy teachers, people that are very professional in their life, people that are successful become the kind of people your mind begin to attract. So we are creatures of habit. We form habit, and the reason why we form habit is that, and I'm going to shock you with this, Kali.
Yeah.
The brain is a lazy thing. The brain in itself. You know why the brain thinks?
Yeah.
You know why? Because it doesn't want to think. Anytime you expose the brain to anything, the brain wants to record it immediately and put it in an autopilot and take it and put it in your subconscious, so it doesn't have to do that again. So anytime you start an activity, your brain is trying to understand the algorithm to master it and then push it back to the subconscious, so it doesn't have to think about it. So the reason why brain is lazy is because it doesn't want to do anything. So that's where your willpower to initiate an action, to make a decision, to say, you know what, as I'm listening to Ugo right now, I have seen an embodiment that anybody, no matter the circumstances, can be wealthy. Just you and I on this program is enough for anybody to really know, you know what, I can be anything regardless. Okay?
Yeah.
So if you say to yourself right now in this meeting, you know what, I'm going to be wealthy. The same way you took your JAM form to feel I'm going to be a lawyer. And for 4 years, you stayed on that for 4 years. The reason why you have to stay on the course 4 years, 6 years, is to form the habit of the course. That habit is called discipline. All right? Discipline is not like when we were young, they used to say, they tell us they will discipline you. What we know as discipline is using a cane to flog someone. That's not for discipline. Discipline is a set of instructions for a predetermined outcome. You want to take the course in the university, it's called medical discipline, which means instructions for medicine. So instructions for legal practices. So if you make a decision today and say, you know what, the same way I filled JAM form to learn how to be a lawyer, fill JAM form to learn how to be a medical doctor, I'm going to fill the form today. Fill that form by yourself. Take out the form. call it the University of Wealth. Say first course, sorry, first course, wealth, second course, wealth. Then look for the teachers. That Kali is already here. Even though you call me the master of wealth creation process, but Kali, you're a wealthy man. I mean, Kali, you're a wealthy man. This thing you're doing right now. I mean, you say yes, it didn't pay me for things, but being here is enough payment. Being part of your life in itself is an honor in itself. So if you can pull resources, I heard Ladi was here the other time, and all those great people that were there. If someone can stay with you for like 10 minutes every day, or listen to you for 30 minutes every day, get your tapes, get your CDs, be on this program, try to be part of your life, that person is going to be wealthy. So it's a habit you form. For the past 3 months, I've been quite busy. I've been quite busy with companies. We are doing training. I have training next week. I have next week. From now to June, I'm pretty much booked. I'm not taking new bookings anymore. Why? Even the things that I'm doing right now, I don't remember doing them because my subconscious, my cognitive process have recorded the habit of wealth so much so that I don't remember doing those things. Just like driving a car. You don't remember driving, you just get into the steering wheel, and automatically your brain will find where the key is, and then find where the pedals and the brake pedal is, and you just keep driving because your brain doesn't like to think. It likes to record habits and make it automatic so that you do the things that are necessary without having to think about it. It's the same with people that are poor and not complaining. Have you seen a poor man complain? They don't. They just thank God they have a life. But what is the purpose of life if you're not used to somebody else? Wow. So basically that's what it is.
Thank you, Ugo. So let's look at some principle around self-development, because you see every African is heart-rending because travel around developed Africa, you see that we are somehow very, very engrossed with just consumption mentality. So look at the governors, look at the president, nobody is trying to create everything but just to come and take allocation. The same with our individual lives. Now, what can you say about understanding value? That value cannot go it cannot be outdated. Meaning that anytime value goes out, value comes back. And how can we continuously be value creation animals? How can we create the habit of being value creation animals? Yeah, a lot of people don't have eye to see opportunities. So how do you recognize opportunities, and how do you carry on till you achieve that?
Kale, I tell you this is my book, right? I came here to take notes from you. So far, I have written some things you said. I'm taking notes. I came to learn from you. You said wealth is easy, but it's not simple. I'm taking notes. You said value cannot be outdated. So the issue is, if you are raised in a family or in a society that has disabled your wealth consciousness, that's a big problem in the first place. You're not even aware you're poor.
Please repeat.
If you're raised in a family, that has disabled your wealth consciousness, they did not turn it on. They turned in the poverty consciousness. They told you things are difficult. They told you Nigeria is a terrible place. They told you the government is corrupt. And this is what you've heard. They are turning in the volume of poverty. The voice of wealth has been silenced. It's a kind of old. So such a person needs to be waking up first. Because, you and I were born in this country. So I mean, Charlie, we were born in this country. We went to Imo State University together. You know, and so nobody can actually say that blame anybody at all. There's no collective good. There's no collective wealth creation in Africa. Collective. We are not coming together as a people, as a common people, to say, let us create. Just like what God said in Genesis chapter 1, verse 26. We are not saying let us create. Just like the way you call me on this, you're saying to come, let us think together. I didn't come because I want to speak to people. I wanted to be part of this, to learn from this whole process. That's why I came with my pen and paper as well.
Wow.
So it's because my wealth consciousness is on.
Your what?
I am observant.
Your wealth consciousness
is turned on.
It's not disabled.
It's not disabled. I am observant. I am here because I'm going to hear things that are not visible to the ears, but my spirit can perceive it. The questions you're asking me is to provoke me to think deeper. I'm not really here maybe to speak to someone. I'm here to think with you. I'm here to learn with you. And then I'm not going to lose out of the wisdom that will come from this interaction, because my wealth consciousness recognizes that during interaction, new wisdom is born.
Wow. Ugo, let's check if some people want to ask questions, because I wouldn't want to just overshadow this. Please, if you want to ask questions, raise your hands. I know you know this man. Yeah, I know you know this man, and you know the opportunity this presents. Because you see, sometimes great men, their simplicity will make you not to understand what you are in. So don't take it for granted. So do you have questions you are asking? Somebody's asking whether it's recorded. Yes, it's being recorded. But if you have any question before I continue, raise your hands, because I know he's busy. So somebody want to ask questions? Is it SCBS? You want to ask questions? Or you secondly raise your hand? Okay. So, Kehinde, can you go ahead and ask your question? Kehinde Lauren.
Yes, good evening, sir.
Good evening, Ken. How are you?
I'm fine. You said about wealth consciousness, how that we have been born and raised in a poverty mentality, you know, nursery school, primary school, secondary school, hearing that, oh, the country is bad. So now hearing that you should be wealth conscious is a bit difficult to just change. It's not really very easy. It's not easy at all to just change your mentality. So is there like practical ways other than maybe reading books and maybe listening?
Okay, good question, Kehinde.
Yes.
How old are you?
21.
What do you do?
I'm a student and also a network marketer.
Okay. In university or polytechnic or secondary school?
University, OAU.
Okay, great. So good question. How do you turn on your wealth consciousness? Now write this down.
Yeah.
There are contractors in our life. Contractors. We don't really have parents. That word is a misguided word. We have contractors. Contractors are the people who have been given responsibility to take care of you before you take care of yourself. Contractors. So your first contractor is your parent. If your parents were not wealthy people and they don't know about wealth and riches, they will only teach you what they know. So if what they taught you is not enough, you're now an adult, you're 21, and you have desire to be wealthy, and you have seen people in your made people who are doing very well. Now you know it's possible to do well. Now you know somebody like you can become successful. Now you know your parents is no longer your world. Your family is no longer your world. You've seen a larger world out there. What you need to do to start that process is to get another parent, another contractor. Contractors now are the people whom you now submit your mind to do what your parents could not do. Those people are called mentors. but their job is contracting in the sense that they are now, given the responsibility to re-educate you. So most of us did not choose our parents. We can't choose our parents because it's not in our power to choose our parents. Okay, but if what your parents taught you is not enough, if you found out that all the files of knowledge, the experiences, the incidences, the activities that happened when you were in your parents, your uncle, your close families, your extended families, by the time you found that these things that they taught you, exposed you to, are not enough to get wealthy, just take your mind to another set of people. Sometimes the way you can get these people to help you, because it's important to do observational learning. Reading books is fine. It's just one of the ways. So you read it, you hear it, you must observe the practice of the things the book said. Most of the book you are reading were written from what men did. So you were not there when they did it. So in 4 ways you get information, you get knowledge. 4 ways you get knowledge. Number 1 is what I call tacit knowledge, knowledge by practice. Knowledge by practice, which is what Igbo people do, Igbo culture. They send you someone to go and do apprenticeship. You watch, you serve your master. You're there with your master every day, watching your master. Your master may not be intelligent, knowledgeable enough, or he doesn't have enough vocabulary to explain the principles of wealth. But you see him practice. Money comes in, he saves it, he goes to buy, he does his own budget in a crude way. But you're watching those things that your master is doing. It is called tacit, technical knowledge. But he may not be able to explain the principles behind it. That's one way, by observation. You don't need words for that. There's so many things I teach in classes, and I tell them, this thing I'm teaching, you can practice it. When you walk out of here, you cannot practice it, because I'm teaching you for what I did, but you're not seeing me do it, so you can practice it. The second type of knowledge is called theoretical knowledge. This is the theories behind the practice. The reason why Kali and I can teach is because we have both. We have the know-how, we also have the know-what. We understand the principles we are practicing. Therefore, we can explain to you how we got the result, because we did it cognitively. While we are doing what we are doing, we are observing what was working, we are documenting it, just the same way I'm with my notes. I know I'm going to pick up some nuggets of wisdom today, but if I don't write it down, I may not remember it later. So that is know-what, theoretical knowledge. Now, if you know the technical side of things, you can fix computer, you can fix a car, you can fix internet, and you can explain how to do it. Okay, that's 2. But number 3rd one is what I call the know-who. If you do not know how to relate with people socially, your technical skill will go useless. If you don't have the social skill to be able to engage in relationship, how would anybody buy what you have? I had a job for one of the biggest company in America. I'm training them today. I got a training for an American company. I got the training from here through relationship. That was about in December. I trained the chairman and the board of directors of this American company, white man, American, and I trained them from this office I'm sitting right now, and they all logged in on Zoom. I got paid thousands of dollars from here. What got me that job was relationship, social skill. It wasn't my technical skill. It wasn't my understanding of knowledge of how to explain things. It wasn't based on my ability to teach. It was based on my emotional intelligence on how to place value on relationship. The person that got that job placed her name on the line and said, I have gotten someone who can help us turn the company around. And this company has a branch in Africa. And I'm training all of them. As of March 6, 2021, that's next 3 weeks now, I'm doing a major training that runs into millions for this company. That job came from know-how. But if you notice, know what, which is the theoretical side, know-how, which is the technical side, know who. But in all of these things, the prefix is knowledge. So you guys might want to take this note. Knowledge is the only asset that creates other assets. The reason why Kali asked me how am I able to overcome my physical disability. He's asking that question not to stress the disability. He's asking the question to stress knowledge. Ignorance makes room for foolishness. Ignorance makes room for foolishness. You see people who are poor, broke, and they are not doing anything about it. It's because ignorance permits poverty. You don't even know you're poor. You don't even know the damage you're doing to your brain cells. But knowledge makes room for wisdom. In other words, it is knowledge that will make me be as a host, be as a guest in this program, and I came with my pen to write.
Wow.
It is knowledge that will make me, even though I'm going to be the one that's going to be speaking and talking all the big things, but I still know that knowledge comes from unlikely places. I don't know who's going to ask me a question that will make me think a thought I could never have thought. I don't know who's going to probe me now. Something that is lying down in my heart, dead, dormant. And your question will trigger it. And I will answer it. You think this man is wise? No. The same level of thought that I have may be within me, but it's not in my consciousness. All of you that are listening to me right now could be anything. It could be a billionaire in the next 5 years. It could be wealthy. It could be whatever. But the capacity to do that is in your ability to learn. So my answer to your question, sweetheart, is that if your parents did what they can with what they know, and what they have done is not enough for you, read books, fine. Get a new parent. I can never overstress mentorship. I can never overstress it. There are 2 ways you can pay for mentorship. Let me share with you guys. Number 1 is internship. Find someone that has the result you have. If you're lost with what you can do, if you're lost with how to create wealth, if you have a business but you don't have wealth files, you don't understand the wealth psychology, and you're good at what you do technically, but the wealth understanding, the psychology of wealth, you don't have it, please pick that. Find the wealthy man, go and be the gift man. Just find yourself in the space of such people. What your brain will observe will shock you. What you'll assimilate by such behavior will shock you. Let me give you an example. So that's the first one, internship. Okay. My son, I have 2 boys. One of my sons is 9 years old. The other one is 7. At the age of 12, my first son is going to go and do apprenticeship to a wealthy man. He's going to go to I'm going to send him out. He'll go and take instructions. I'm thinking of so many places. Maybe Alaba, maybe one wealthy man, whether or not the person can speak grammar doesn't matter. He's going to wake up there every morning and just wake up in the morning. They'll ask him to wash car, they'll ask him to go and see the customer. All of those things, my son will witness it before I absorb him in my company. And when it comes to my company, he's going to fill forms, he's going to go through the ranks. So internship is one. The second way is if you don't have the time, you have to pay to intern, you're already busy, then the next alternative is to find the money to pay someone, because the essence of mentorship is not what the mentor is saying, it's what the mentor is doing. What you're paying for is not his information. You're paying for access to his presence. Because there's something I can explain to you right now on this video. Unless you're close to me, you can never see where I practice. So, contractors, they probably have done the best they can. Find a new set of contractors, intern for them, or pay them for their place.
Wow, thank you, Ugo. Kelly, I hope you are good.
Yes, I am.
Thank you. So let's take,
so Kelly, don't be offended. Don't be offended, Kelly. So Kelly, tell me what you got from that.
Okay, Kelly, please unmute yourself.
Okay, tell me what you got from what answers did you get?
Well, Kelly, unmute yourself, please.
I'm here.
Okay.
Yes. What did you get from my talk? My answer to your question?
Yes. You said I need new contractors in my life right now. I need to get new mentors. Either I do it in or I pay to listen to them to pay for mentors, pay for what they are doing, for their time. And you also said that knowledge makes room for money, right? So I need to listen to somebody that is where I want to be.
Right.
I need to be around people where I want to be.
When I worked with JP Morgan in the US, Kali, I don't know if I've told you this story. Sometime in 2004, one of our research engineers in America, every month there's new millionaires are turned out. Now it's over 600,000 millionaires every month, every year in America. So we found out how come every month 13,000 people have made $1 million for the first time. So which means in the month of May, 13,000 people have made $1 million the first time. In the month of June, another 13,000. That's 26,000 people. In the month of July, another 13,000 people. So new people are creating new value, new product, and making money. What we found out in our research is that there were about 4,500 mentoring hubs in the United States. People who have become successful, built systems, built companies, would take the young startups and pour their knowledge into them. When I applied for a grant in the United States, I applied for a grant. That's what is called affirmative action. I applied to be given some money to set up a business. Because I'm a black minority, certain grants are available to people in that particular category. Is there anyone who's already successful who is in your management team? So what to do before they can release the money? Wow. So my talent, my idea is not enough. The wisdom of someone that is successful is what safeguards your intellect, your ideas. So it's important that we take note of that.
Thank you very much, Ugo. Yeah. Saratsu, you want to ask a question?
Hello.
Yes.
Good evening, everyone.
No, I wanted to know
not yet. I just joined.
Okay.
No, thank you. Sorry.
Okay. So, before I continue, who else want to ask a question? Because I don't want to dominate. It is not every time that you have these guys and these kind of guys. So that's why I'm not the person asking all the questions. Please, if you want to ask questions, they won't be here for too long. So can you raise your hands and I can allow you before I continue with my own questions. It's a rare opportunity to have him, and I do wish you are able to make use of this opportunity. I know I'm going to bring him back, but of course I can't.
I'm seeing a question.
Okay, you are seeing a question. Okay. Okay, Ugo, you can read it out.
I'm seeing a question here. Can you see it? Can you see it?
Yes.
There's a question.
Good evening, Mr. Ugo. We are being taught in our parents and teachers to read.
Okay, so that's Odemakinde.
Then get a good job and settle for a car, a job and all that. How do we live beyond this and get a better life? Because having a job is stressful. How do we get better life outside job, okay?
Well, I'd like to know how old is the person asking this question. How old are you? I would like to know who this asking this question. Is the person living on earth? Is this person alive? How old are you? What do you? You're 21. Oh, okay, my bad. I've already answered it. I have a young boy that came to my office last 3 weeks. It was my session. I gave him a scholarship to come. So after that, he wanted, of course, he doesn't have the money to pay. He's about 20 years old. He doesn't have the money to pay, and but he knows he could be better. I guess it was a challenge with my sessions. So his desire to learn made him come around. So we're trying to find a way to bring him in, into the company. So what your parents taught you, I can vouch for your parents, they don't mean harm. Ignorance. So like I told Kay, that you have to find, first of all, start with reading new books. I'm going to recommend books for you to read. The first one I want you to read to start shifting your mind, shifting your paradigm, is The Alchemist. You want to write this down? The Alchemist by Poliomyelitis. The Alchemist. I want you to read that book. Odemakinde. I want you to read that book. I want you to read Think and Grow Rich. Don't read it. I want you to study it. I want you to study it. Alchemist and Think and Grow Rich. If you start with these two books, yes, Derek, yes, Sean Cussons. The Alchemist. If you read that book, it will open a whole new world of imagination for you. It's one of the first books I read that brought the consciousness of my vision to me. Now, let me tell you this, it's Poliomyelitis. That book will show you that everything you're looking for in America, in London, in all the wonderful places you're trying to go, was and is with you while you were still looking for those things. Whatever you are looking for, because in that book, it's an interesting book. When the guy finally got what he wanted, he found out he came back to where he started. Everything he was looking for was with him, and before he started the journey. So I encourage you to get that book and get started with it. And then after that, and go to Think and Grow Rich. Read it that way, study it that way. Take notes, okay? Don't just read it when you are on Facebook, on Instagram, which is one of the downfalls of these years. Those things have done more harm than good. People's brain has been distorted, and they have made to be so lazy that because flipping through your Facebook and Instagram is so easy, you forgot to think. Okay.
Wow.
Yeah. So that's basically.
Thank you. Pat, you wanted to say something, Patrick?
Evening.
Yeah, good evening, Pat.
Good evening.
Mr. Ugo will recognize this voice.
Oh, Mr. Patrick. Oh my God. Look at you.
Wow.
Oh
wow,
my goodness.
Wow. I am so excited.
How are you doing?
I'm doing great. How about yourself?
I'm doing what I'm doing also. You can see that.
Yes. Dr. Kali, thumbs up.
Thank you.
I wanted to ask a question. I know we don't get paid for our impressions. We get paid for the reality.
Life rewards you is directly related to how deep knowledge you have about how the earth works. So this question is a deep question. How do you manifest your desire? How do you create the picture that came from your desire? How do you say, you know what, I want to be a rich man? And you see the appearance of riches, the cars, the houses, you see people living in this wonderful life. And those things you're seeing at the front end. How do I orchestrate a mental revolution? How do I get into my cognitive to imagine my own world and then develop the skill set and the habit to be able to manifest what I have? It requires deep learning, sir. I wish I can give you one stop answer right now. I mean, unfortunately, I'm not a motivational speaker. And I've told you that by the grace of God, just believe it, it's going to work. Unfortunately, believe is just one part of the equation. So it requires deep learning. You want to write this down. Deep learning is a process of structured learning, which means if you have to go through primary school before you can understand secondary school. In other words, if you don't have a life of study, if you're not into research doesn't mean you're going to write theses to prove anything to anybody. It's the observational consciousness of learning. Why are you here? What is the purpose in your life? And all the questions. So how do you future? I don't believe there's a future, though. I don't believe there's a future. I believe that you create what you want the future to be. I believe that life will manifest what your mind has created. So in between the time you imagine a thought and imagine a thought, and thought comes from environment, comes from the things you've been taught. So all those things that your mind has been exposed to that form your thought, for you to manifest, the time and space must come into play. It's a natural law. In time and space. The way I'm speaking right now was not because I read a book and then come and talk to you. It's been something I've been doing over and over again, creating all the time, and having issues like anybody else has issues. But I already know that every event that happens is an obsolete expression of the thought. So if something happens in your life and you don't like it, what do? You go back to the thought process and begin to say, I don't like what manifested. I'm going to change the programming of my mind, and then I'm going to develop a new thought. How do you do it? Exposure to knowledge, exposure to relationship, exposure to information, exposure to deep knowledge about the Word of God. First, no apologies. I am a deep lover of Christ. I am a deep lover of the Word of God, and it has literally revolutionized my life, that I'm even a spectacle unto myself. When I see the kind of capacity of my mind, I am like, God, you are amazing. How did you make a machine like this? And make the machine to be conscious of himself while he's still creating. Like, you're doing something, you're creating something, you're creating something, and you like what you're creating, you're deserving joy for what you're creating, and you can actually stop what you're creating and add some things to it, and then continue to create. And the beautiful part is that you are creating what you're creating. So how do you manifest your thought? It requires deep learning. It's not a casual activity. It's not something you wish that I'm going to make it in life. It's not something you do, I'm broke. No, it's not something you do because you want to pay bills. It's your lifelong learning habit that determines how quick and easy life will be for you. I wish I can just give you one stop thing you're going to do, but you need to know that without learning, without the habit of study, look at Kali right there. Kali is a spectacle beyond comprehension. Kali is on calipers, orthodontics. Kali has to wake up every day trying to fix some things on his legs. But guess what? None of those things are even in his conscience. I can tell you about Kali right now. I can tell you that Kali does not remember he has crutches.
Yeah,
he does not
100%.
You are the one that reminds him, because his brain, so far right now, has gotten used to creating his thought, and he forgot his unconscious.
Absolutely.
Now, so your thought came from external activity. Some people say go within. That's bullshit. You are born tabula rasa. You are born black. Nothing was within when you were born. Everything that is within came from without. So if what is already been imputed in your brain and it reflects in your life, and you don't like it, go and shop for another without. And
Wow. I don't feel like listening to you, but I have a lot more questions. You're going to pardon me, but let me pick one or two more persons who will want to ask you questions before I go back and then start winding it so that.
I love you, sir.
I love you too.
Who says that? Unmute yourself so that he can appreciate this.
Very sure.
Okay, Ode Makinde Michael. Okay,
Sorry.
Great. Okay, so guys, who else has questions before we go back to the host asking his question? Who else has questions? Yeah, we'll go. A lot of people on fire. I can see this saying powerful. Killer B, great talk, wonderful. Quite a lot. Yeah. So, but let me ask you this question. Now, we seem to be too religious in our world, especially Africa. Now, the question is, okay, go ahead. Go ahead, sir.
Kali, did you hear what I said?
Yes, go ahead.
Someone said, how do we get the right mentor?
Go ahead and answer, sir.
Okay. It's a little bit tricky though. I think there is no right or wrong mentor. There is only right or wrong students. Because my growing up, I've had people who treated me bad. I have a close relative who maltreated me. This person, because of his recorded, I'm not going to mention the person's name or give any clue. But this person is a close relative of mine. This person treated me like a piece of shit. This person was mean to me. This person said to me, when I was in Holy Ghost College, I came second place. The person saw my result and said, this class that I got second place, they are all fools. This person saw, yes, this person said to me, I drew a painting. The person thought it was for the person's child. The person saw the painting that I did and said it was amazing. And when they told the person I was the one that drew, the person poured water on it, that this is a piece of shit. This person pushed me and I fell down. But I lived with this person. I never left that person. Why? The life this person lived in terms of the discipline, in terms of the discipline this person had. This person studied abroad in America. This person had a great life. This person had engineers, doctors, lawyers coming to this person's house. And while I was there, I loved what I saw. Organized place. So that thing he was doing to me may be of a personal vindictiveness for whatever reason. But I was still able to tell my mind, learn what's important. So I chose what I wanted to learn. And this person at some point today, this person now sends, I don't want to use the gender. This person sends one of the children that this person has to me to mentor the person right now. Wow. The person's child comes to me for mentorship. To say, go and learn from Ugo. So the person you call a bad mentor or a bad leader, someone else is learning from that person. So I don't want you to put the problem on anybody other than yourself. Be the right student that will focus on the right kind of thing that will make your life better. Because if you put it on any other power outside yourself, you let your power go.
Wow.
If you wish to do.
Ugo, there seems to be another question. So I might not exactly know how to ask this question, but there's the road path to wealth creation. Yes. How do you find it? Like me, for instance, there's so much I think I can do, but I do not know what exactly will be the channel to wealth creation. I don't even know if there's any of it. It is easy to say wealth creation, but how do you know what way to create wealth or can always create wealth?
Okay, I'm trying to. This person, please, how old are you?
Dolapo, please. Can you unmute yourself, please?
How old are you?
Dolapo, can you unmute yourself?
I'm 21.
Okay, what do you do?
I'm a student.
Huh?
I'm a student, and I just do like some little stuff by the side. I'm an entrepreneur, so I draw, I do makeup, I do quite a number of things, and I'm also a student.
Okay.
Yes.
Now, you're not an entrepreneur. Don't say I am anything.
Okay, sir.
When you say that, you make your mind from changing to be formed. You are born a creative being. Everything you're doing, you're learning about it. You are first a creative being. Your original state that you were created was a state of learning. Now listen to this. Every other animal survives by instinct. Humans succeed by training. Every other animal created by God survives by instinct. Humans is the only animal that succeeds by training. Now, what that means in terms of what you're trying to say about entrepreneurship is whatever you're doing right now is more impacted by the quality of the people who have shaped your life. 15 years ago, what were you? Dalakbo, what were you 15 years ago?
15 years ago, I was still a student.
15 years ago, where were you? What were you? Student?
Okay, 15 years.
Oh, you're just a human being. You're a human being.
Oh, I've always been a human being.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. And what does it mean to be human? You come with the capacity to learn.
Yes, sir.
So Now, you are not a doctor. You are not a doctor. You're not a lawyer. You're not an entrepreneur. Those things are the things you learned. So if you don't like what's happening in your life, don't have an entrepreneur, then that puts a label on you. I want you to default to creative nature of God. Come back to that creative nature. Say, I'm going to learn how to run a business. Then go and learn how to run a business. And when you learn how to run a business, you will learn how to run a business, period. I paid someone millions last month to teach me how to do digital marketing. But I didn't teach him to teach me Facebook. I said, I'm going to be in your life every day, every month for 6 months. Give me access, unprecedented access. I want to see when you're doing your Facebook, when you're doing your digital, all of those things. I want to be part of your life. My brain will pick up some things. I don't need to know all the technical stuff. I just need to know how your brain functions. There are people who are into Facebook. Khalid is successful on Facebook ad. He has done one of my videos. But Khalid is far away from me, and he had even offered to teach me. But you know what I want? I want Khalid's brain. I want Khalid's brain on how, what he saw, what he sees, how his neurons fire, to be able to determine when to go in and click, and how to determine who to target. So you can learn. You can learn anything. You can. Don't say you're confused. Don't say you don't know what you want to do. So write these simple steps down. These 4 steps. Number 1, you will need clarity. You need clarity. Okay, before you write that down, let me explain to you the value of knowledge. Maybe it will help you to understand what I'm trying to say. There are 3 values of knowledge. How do you place this value of knowledge? People say, well, I charge premium though. I mean, forgive me, Kali. I mean, I charge premium. I charge millions of money for myself.
Yeah.
No, don't put clarity on the value of knowledge. Remove that one first. I'm supposed to teach you something before you can understand that. It takes knowledge to understand knowledge. If I go to the things I'm about to explain, the four concepts, if I tell you right now, you're not going to understand it until I explain what I'm about to explain. It takes knowledge to understand knowledge. Our PhD here can explain that, right? Yes. So first, what is the worth of knowledge? What does knowledge worth? People don't even know what these things I'm talking about. They don't even know what knowledge is. They say, I read the book, I'm broke. That's not knowledge. That's somebody's information. There are 3 values of knowledge. Number 1, intrinsic value. Number 2, extrinsic value. Number 3, instrumental value. Instrumental value. Now, intrinsic value of knowledge is the value that knowledge brings to you to help you understand who you are. Nobody pays you for that. When you go for medical school and you start medicine for 6 years, nobody pays you to come and learn medicine. You pay doctors to bring the awareness of medicine to you. For 6 years, you're paying someone. So the value of that is not how much you're going to make. The value of that is who you're going to become. 6 years after, you become somebody. Nobody has paid you a dime. But because nobody is paying you money for becoming, most people don't place value on the intrinsic value of knowledge. So when I say read the book, Think and Grow Rich, you say who's going to pay me money? That's why you take it for granted. What that book does to your mind is to reconfigure your consciousness, to change your paradigm, to begin to see life in a different way. That particular scene in itself is foundational for the next level of knowledge, which is the extrinsic, which is where your competence comes in. Extrinsic knowledge, extrinsic value of knowledge is what you are able to do from the intrinsic knowledge. So if you attend a medical school for 6 years, nobody pays you a dime. But after the 6th year, you are not able to now say, I can operate on human being. You're not able to say, I can now understand human body. Based on that understanding, listen to this. The extrinsic value of knowledge is to help you solve your own problem. It's not to help somebody else. So intrinsic value helps you to have awareness of what you are worth. After 6 years, you become a doctor. You know, you have a sense of worthiness. I am Dr. John. Even though you're broke, you still feel like you're too much. You are a lawyer. You say, I'm a lawyer. Even though you don't have dime in your pocket, but there's a sense of value of who you are. You carry yourself with dignity. That dignity is the foundation of competence. Then when you begin to practice these things you have now learned for 6 years, right? What you're trying to do is to use that knowledge to solve your own problem first. So the essence of the extrinsic value of knowledge is to solve your problem, your own. Then the thought comes in. When you have learned to solve your own problem and you have enough time to use that knowledge to solve other people's problem, knowledge becomes a means of income. Oh God, I love myself right now.
Wow.
The challenge is you have not solved your own problem. You want to go and solve other people's problem. You have not become somebody. You want to go and teach somebody how to be somebody. People miss the 3 value of knowledge equation. So, intrinsic focuses on the inner person, clarity of who you are, goals of who you're becoming, vision for your life, purpose of life. That's intrinsic. It takes time and nobody pays you a dime. But the quality of who you become will impact the level of competence you will. Another example. If someone is a mechanic, a roadside mechanic, he has extrinsic value, which is competence. He can fix cars. But because you don't go through an engineering school, he cannot explain the principles of automobile. So he's called a mechanic. But the person that goes through the process of engineering goes for it for 2-3 years of consistent learning of different types of engineering. He comes out, becomes an engineer. So because an engineer, he understands all the technicalities of the know-how, understands the know-what, he knows the theories behind it. He can tell you what is wrong with the car before he fixes the car. So if you take your car to an engineer, he will charge you in 2 places. He will charge you for diagnostics of telling you what is wrong with your car. He will still charge you for fixing the car. His ability to charge you premium for fixing the car came from his understanding of what's wrong with the car. Oh, I wish I'd make it.
Well, we are here, but we understand it.
Am I making sense? So it's let me summarize. Then I go to the 4 concepts.
Yeah.
Intrinsic value focuses on helping you have an awareness of the substance you're made of. Who are you? You're a creator. You're made in the image and likeness of God. You have the potentials of wealth. Wealth is a Greek word for virtue, Hebrew word for virtue, compassion, love, kindness. These are wealth, integrity, honesty, trust, fidelity, faith. You don't touch these things. They are the sum total of the character of a man. So these things is what form the substance of who you say you're becoming. That's why you can't take bribe. That's why you cannot cheat people. Those things is what constitutes your quality of yourself. That's intrinsic. But by reason of going through this process, you finally learn these things for 4 years: engineer, accountant, lawyer, doctor. After 4 or 5 years, you are now beginning to practice. For the lawyers to go attachment in the law firm, for the doctor to go for housemanship, they are going to observe a practitioner. After 6 years of all this deep knowledge about structure and theory, they still go through a practitioner to observe the practice of what they are taught. It's called housemanship. That particular 1 year is the tipping point of the 6 years, without which the other theories are useless. You have a very big title about who you are, but there's no resources to command who you are. So that housemanship is now going to practice. That's the extrinsic. They are now showing you how to use what you've learned to solve your problem. Stop there. If you now want to be wealthy and rich, then use the knowledge you've gone from what you've been able to solve, then open it to the whole world. Then knowledge becomes an instrument in your hand. At that point in time, your income will come to you. So you solve people's problems with what you're working on. So let me bring it down to the 4 concepts. The first 3 things to talk about, this is my young lady right now who said she's confused, I don't know what to do. The first thing you need is clarity. It comes from intrinsic value of knowledge, clarity of purpose, clarity of direction. The second one you need is character. quality of your being, honesty, integrity, trust, with character. The third one is competence. You must develop some skills. That's why Jewish people, no matter how much degree they have, they learn some artisans' work. They are bricklayers, doctors, engineers. There's something you can do as a lifesaver. If they take all your degrees away, what can you do? Can you build a website? Can you do Facebook ad? What technical skill do you know? Or do you just have head knowledge about what life should be about? So that competence is the key. Competence is the direct assault against poverty. The ability to take your expertise to solve your own problem and extend that expertise to solve other people's problems deals with poverty and makes less law. Then the last one is commitment. See, these things is not book head. It is what kept us here. Clarity of what we want to do. You're definitely clear, surgically on point of what your life is about without any shadow of doubt. You have the character to sustain it. 90% of time, without character, competence will destroy your life. If people cannot trust you, if people cannot hold you accountable, between competence and character, always choose character. Because without character, competence becomes destructive. They can steal, kill, or kidnap, or rob. And the last part is commitment. Now, what is commitment? If I ask you, most of you may not get it right. Let me tell you, commitment is when you are emotionally and intellectually involved in your course of action. You are there with your heart, your soul, and your body. There's no way under heavens you will fail. When you have clarity of purpose based on intrinsic knowledge, when you have character, you have quality of character, people can trust you, can be faithful and honest, and then you have confidence. You can actually do the things you say people can do. People give you a job, you deliver it. And then in all of these three, you wrap them up with being involved in ease fulfillment and make sure you don't give up when things come back. There's no way. You know, sometimes people come close to me, they think there's magic. There's no magic. I've explained all the magic to you. There's no secret to success, except what I'm telling you right now. And that's why this program is called the algorithm. The simple steps you need to follow. Ignorance. Those that are ignorant become, business for those that have knowledge. Basically. So that's about it.
Wow. Well, thank you so very much. I wouldn't know how long you can still carry on,
Thank
but
you, sir.
we will want to, 1 minute please. We will, okay, the lab boy is thanking you. The lab boy, thank you. Okay, so we want to leave you.
Sorry, Kali. I want the lady to give me a summary of what she got.
Okay, Greg, the lab boy, go ahead.
Okay, sir. You spoke about intrinsic knowledge, and you said that I have to be I have to work on myself. I think that's what that means. Like I have to work on myself. I have to develop myself. I'm not going to get paid for that. I have to be aware of the substance I'm made of, and then extrinsic knowledge. Then that's when I can be able to apply the intrinsic knowledge I've developed for myself. And then you spoke about value of knowledge, and that's why you spoke about having clarity, character, competence, and commitment. But I have one other question. Clarity, okay. Do you pray to get clarity, or how did you? I said, do you pray to get clarity, or how exactly were you clear on your? Did you pray?
Okay. Well, I understand you're African. So I was in a plane to Hanover in Germany. I was in a plane with one white lady, and she told me that Africans are fatalistic with religion. Prayer is an essential part of your life. Clarity or no clarity. Prayer is a place where you're supposed to have continuous communion with God. It's not something you do in terms of trouble, in terms of things are going well. It's your life. There are no great man without sense of isolation and quiet time. It's impossible. You can't even think clearly. So prayer is when you're coming with the higher force, a sense of union with that which brought you to be. It's not an intervention. It's not what you do because you're desperate. It's not what you do because you want clarity. It's none of those. It's more than that.
Yes, sir.
There is petition, there's supplication, types of prayer, but it is what you do as a human being to be in tune with spiritual awareness. But we have actually made this a religion where, let me go and pray. There's nothing like that. In the Bible, it says, don't be like the people who come out and open their mouth and talk about prayers. He said, we say, God who made you knows your thoughts in secret. He sees your thoughts before you even think it. That's what the Bible says. So prayer is something that you do because you are spirit. It's something that is consistent. It's not a religion. It's not a routine of, let me go and pray. And then you go and pray 7 hours. No, it's supposed to be a continuous flow of communion before you sleep. You meditate. You wake up. This morning, by 5 I was up. And I wasn't up because I wanted to sleep. By 4, my mind is really waking up. I'm already coming consciousness. My brain is beautiful. It's beginning to talk to me, to arrange the day. And my mind is attuned with divine reality. And I'm calm. I'm grateful. And you see me that time, if I bring my notes beside my bed, I'm taking notes and I'm thanking God for such a thought, because God depends on me on earth to prove his presence. He made me out of his own image and likeness. He created him male and female. And said, and in Genesis chapter 1, verse 28, he said, created them male and female. I said he blessed them. See, when God blessed man, man was not physical. Man was a thought, an idea in the mind of God. So what he blessed was his own thought of the idea of man. And I tell you, we don't build successful business. You build a successful idea into a business. At the level of thought, you are happy, you are excited about your thought. At the time you are excited about your thought, you're already in tune with divine nature. And he said he blessed them and said, be fruitful and multiply. There was no physical man on earth. So what was God's blessing? If he said that he blessed them and said, be fruitful and multiply, there was nobody he was talking to anywhere. It was his mind. He was telling his mind, this idea of man in my mind is beautiful. I can even imagine God at that time, if he was human, he was probably in an ecclesiastic mode. He was in an ethereal state of mind. And he was like, my God, I bless this man. Which man? The man that is mine. At that time, if you were with God physically, at that time, it was such a thing, you probably think he was praying. And he was, because he was in touch with his higher being. So from your question, it's like prayer is a job. Let me go and pray to get clarity. I'm sorry?
No, sir. No, sir. It's not like it's a job, but I just feel like God goes to involve in every part of our life, but I don't know. I feel like this clarity thing is something that we have to specifically ask God for. I don't know.
Maybe I don't have an answer for that one. You need to come faster.
Okay,
but clarity comes from knowledge. Study, learning. Now, Job chapter 13, verse 2, he says, what you know, I also know. I am not inferior to you. Job chapter 13, verse 2, he says, what you know, I also know. I am no longer inferior to you. Job 13, 2, what you know, I also know. I am no longer inferior to you. That's the clarity. John chapter 15, verse 15. He said, Jesus told his disciples, I do not call you servants, I call you friends. Because servants do not know what the master does. I call you friends because everything I have heard from my Father, I have made known to you. And when you know something about something, you have clarity about what that is. So when you study about yourself, about God, about the nature of life, physics, chemistry, all of those things give you clarity of what life is about. And then most importantly, gives you clarity about what your purpose on here should be. So, but there are 3 levels of knowledge to do that. There is revelational knowledge, which comes from the study of the Word of God. There is theoretical knowledge, which comes from study of strategy, study of process, study of systems. That's theoretical knowledge. And there is experiential knowledge, which comes from practice and execution. So there's a whole lot going on. But what I can tell you is, if you have no clarity about something, the process will be difficult. Like Kali said something about wealth is easy, but it's not simple.
Okay, thank you, Dolabo. Ugo, somebody is asking, Zakaria Hassan says, I would like you to highlight how former school students will be having such opportunity to develop business ideas.
Okay, former school students will be having such opportunity to develop skills. Well, unfortunately, in this part of the world, we have not gotten it right. Silicon Valley is the only reason why California is the sixth largest economy in the world. The sixth largest economy in the world is California. Okay, California is the sixth largest economy in the world. Sixth largest. California is in America. Is one of the states in America. Is the state that if you count 5 countries, do not count California. The biggest companies in the world are from California. All of them came out from one university. Around where you have Stanford, and the rest of them. A place called Silicon Valley. All of them are product of students in school. Apple, Google, Microsoft, we're all students. So, well, to that effect, the culture of a people determines the education of the people. If we are not a people given to learning as a culture, education will become secondary. It's like going to school is what we do, it's not who we are. The consciousness of education should start from home. If you come to my house now, my boys studying and reading is normal. It's not, they don't do it for exam. I don't reward my children for passing the exam. They get rewarded when they pass them, they get joy, they get happiness from that. But I reward them for studying. Once they read a book, I reward them. I take them out, I give them rewards for just the sake, whether they understand it or not, just the habit of reading should be rewarded. But if they don't pass the exam, the shame of not passing the exam will happen in school. The other students will make mockery. I don't have to worry about that one. But that you read, if I pick up a phone call now and call my house, my child, Jason or Alex will tell you, Daddy, Dad, let me tell you about Harry Potter on page 14. We'll tell you the characters of people in that book. Jason is 7, Alex is 9. They read as a way of life. So the culture we have as a people affects how we use education. So education is like, school is like what you go to get a job. That's what the problem is already. It's not something we do as humans to be able to learn and observe the earth and then figure out what we need to put together. So that part we need to fix first. And I can tell you this one word, sir. I don't know who asked it, but one word. What you didn't perfect in your family setting is difficult to perfect in the university setting.
What you didn't perfect?
What you didn't take as a habit in your family setting, like your primary school, you're in the house, secondary school, you're in the house. If you go to university, it's just, you're going to replay the family life in the university period. So that's why the formative years of a child is important. From 1 to 7 years is the first window of unconsciousness. Between 1 year and 7 years, a child's brain does not think. It only takes what has been taught. It doesn't reason. It doesn't have reasoning. So if you tell him that you can fly, he says, I can fly. I can go to the moon. He believes it. He takes that as true. And he believes it truly that he can go to the moon. It's at the age of 7 that a child's reasoning begins to kick in, where he's now starts questioning this. But what happens between 1 year and 7 years is critical. So I am aware of it. That's why my children, I started early to make sure that I give them the best consciousness before life takes them away from me. But if you miss it at that time, you still have a shot because your brain is neuroplastic. Your brain can change form. So now you are doing it deliberately. So most of our parents miss this understanding. They didn't give us the best while we were small. So but now that you know, what you're going to do, you have to take your life in your own hands now to learn. One of the greatest gifts that God gave to you is that your brain can change in a new form. If I open your brain now, some of the people that are here, I'll see cobwebs in your brain. I'll see those and cockroaches, rats, because the last time you studied is 700 years ago. Even what I'm teaching you, your brain is finding it difficult to understand. As I'm teaching, some people are they're like, I think, man, this guy is
What's in the talk?
ahead. So because your brain has been lax for a long time, it takes knowledge to understand knowledge. And that's why Kali and myself are not popular teachers. We are popular because we don't teach what you want to hear. We teach what you want to know. That's how I got here. I've been on crutches for 35 years. I've been on this thing for 35. I had polio when I was 1 year, 6 months. 1 year, 6 months. So knowledge is a must. But I thought that because of my physical challenge, I thought I was disadvantaged. I thought I was disabled. So I wanted to make up. I started studying, only to find out that the real thing is knowledge, which means your legs are useless when your brain is not working. What I thought was alternative was actually the main thing. There's a lot of disabled people with legs over there walking up and down. And the worst part is that they don't know they're disabled because the functionality of the brain gives value to your legs and hands. If your brain is not functioning, your hands and legs are freaking useless. You don't need legs to be wealthy. You don't need legs to be not to be somebody of value. You need your brain. And guess what? You ignore your brain. All of us sitting on this place, we have phones. We are just, everybody's pressing phone. Can you drop that phone and get to read and study? Can you finish a book today? Can you? I try not to get into my beast mode, try to be nice. Because I don't really know who is listening, so that
we want you raw. You want you raw.
You see, poverty is a sign of wickedness. A poor man is a wicked man. He has everything it takes to be wealthy. He chose not to develop it. Poverty is a sign of wickedness. Capacity so that people can use him as the means to become more knowledgeable and then create wealth.
Wow. Well, thank you very much.
I hope I answered your question, the student guy.
Okay, so I think some people are missing themselves. Hello, Ugo.
Okay. Hope you're good, right?
Yeah, I think.
Hello.
Hello, go ahead.
I can hear you. Yeah,
Okay,
I think I
good
answered the
evening.
question. Yeah, please tell me the answer to your question.
Hello, Ugo, you're asking for a question?
No, the person that asked the student's question, I think I answered it. I want to know whether he got it. I want to know whether he or she got the answer. And what answer
Okay,
he
Zachariah. Zachariah, were your question answered? What did you learn?
Yes, sir.
What
Yes,
did you
sir.
learn?
Good evening, sir.
Guys, good evening. I love you.
Yes, my name is Zachariah, sir. I really learned that the issue of instructing that's knowledge. If you can be able to have some intrinsic knowledge, you'll be able to develop it. That's what I was able to figure out from the lecture is that the knowledge since you are the early ages, like the years of primary school and the years of secondary school, the more you develop that one, then when you go to college, you develop it more. That's it.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
I have on track. Thank you.
Awesome. You tried. So let me say this, Kali, if you permit me, right?
Go ahead, bro.
Everything in life is expensive. Please write this down, guys. Everything in life is expensive. Number one, poverty is expensive. Wealth is expensive. Everything in life is expensive. Expense. Root word is expense. Expense is what you give out the sacrifices you make to get something back. Now, for you to get knowledge, you have to make expenses of time, expenses of your mind, expenses of resources. For you to be poor, you need to make expenses. Time, you waste it. You will not study. So your expense determines, what you trade it for. I'm trading my time to be useful to mankind. That's what I'm here. I'm happy. I'm glad that I'm speaking to some. I don't know, maybe one person will get something today that will change his life forever. But this is an expense.
Yeah.
Charlie had to bond, how to tap into the relationship we have. Our emotional bank account, he has drawn from this relationship. He owes me now for your sake. He has drawn from me. You guys owe us now to take this thing and show that this time is not wasted. So everything in life is expense. So you can't be broke and don't have time. You must have one. You can't say, I don't have money, I don't have time. So if you don't have money, which means, that's what it is. You can't say, I don't have money. If you don't have money, which means you have a lot of time. You have a lot of time. Because why would you not have money if you're using your time well? So if you don't have money, it means you have a lot of time. So let's use the time to learn intrinsic and extrinsic value. Put that time into something. So by the time you come out, you have a lot of money that you cannot pay people to do the things you don't have time for. So you can't say, I'm broke, I don't have time. It doesn't, I don't understand. So if you're broke, you don't have time, what did you do with your time?
Yeah.
You get the logic now?
Yeah.
If you don't have time, it means you have a lot of money because you're using your time to create money. So you pay driver, if you want to move, you don't have time. You pay driver because you don't have to drink. The driver takes you. You don't have time to go and learn how to build a house. You pay the architect to build your house. You don't have time to wash your clothes. You pay the driver. So you have so much money that because there's something that your time is put to that brings the money to pay other people. But don't come and tell me you don't have both.
It's irritating,
It doesn't work that way. You blew your time doing nothing. Want me to come and give you money based on the time you blew? No, everything is expensive.
Right. So let's get some more people time. Oh dear. Okay. Now let's I think Shade, I saw you unmute yourself, is it? And then Esther, quickly before I start winding down because he's given us so much time. Yeah? You
No, I'm not saying anything. It's a mistake.
Okay. Okay, Saratu, you unmuted yourself before. Okay, go ahead.
Yes, sir. Yes. Please, I just want to ask a question. I know you mentioned clarity, character, and commitment.
Competence.
That you need. Sorry?
Clarity, character, competence before commitment.
Okay, yes, that was what was missing. Competence. Okay. That's what you need for you to sustain for your knowledge to work for you.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Those things are default. They are something, it's your life setting. You take those things into business to work. You take it to relationship to work. Take it to anything you want. It's just being deliberate with life and making sure you understand the things that life requires.
Okay. Thank you very much, sir.
They are foundational. Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, Ugo, very quick class as we start winding down right now.
Water.
The question of where money comes from is a very important question, both in religion and in philosophy. And in economics, we will always talk about exchange of value. And you've propounded theories and practiced the issue that money and cash are not the same. And you mentioned different levels of money. And in fact, you said that cash is a subset of money. Can you just very quickly, in relation to showing us where money comes from and the importance of value creation, to start winding down, putting together everything that was said today?
Okay, first of all, I want to appreciate everybody that has been on this program, and you guys are consistent. I'm looking at the chart. We are between 43 and 38, and you guys are an awesome people. You have shown discipline, and I love you, and I'm so grateful. And I this is the best use of my time this year. I thank you guys for giving me your space.
Thank you very much.
Money,
thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Kali. Thank you.
We love you too, sir.
I love you. Now, money is an essential part of life. It's not something people should strive for. When you're striving for money, you're already a failed person. It's part of life, like breathing in and breathing out. But when people don't understand the concept of money, they tend to pursue money. God said, in the scripture it says, the love of money is the root of all evil, because you're not supposed to love it. It's supposed to be part of, just like the love of air. You don't have to love air. It's part of what keeps you active on earth. So money is, the concept is amazing, okay? The word money is not money. It's a language to describe something that happens when human beings interact. So, and one of the power you have in life is the ability to define your reality. So you want to write this down. What you can define, you can modify. What you cannot define overwhelms you. What you can define, you can modify. And there are two levels of definition. Yes, everything life throws at you, don't attack it, don't try to change it, define it first. Understand its ramifications, put it in perspective, put it into one spot, and then deal with it. The challenge is that people try to take life as it is, rather than define it and put it in perspective. For example, I see myself as a specimen of God, to show men that even when they cut your legs off, you can still be powerful. I am that specimen that proves that. So I have put a definition. So when Kali was asking me about whether I am, how do I overcome my disability, I know my answer to her to him was that I am not disabled.
Wonderful.
You cut your hands, it's not enough to stop you. So your definition shapes your reaction. And life does not reward you based on your effort. Life rewards you. The difference is in your definition. Okay. Now, there are two levels of definitions. The first one, for example, I give you this now. I ask you, what is this? This is crutches. If I give it to Chinese person, it's crutches. Muslim person, it's crutches. It's what it is. Defining something for what it is called statutory definition. The second level of definition is called functional definition, which means defining something by reason of application. Now, if you come into this house right now and you see me using this particular crutches to break somebody's head, and there's blood all over the place, and this is the first time you're coming in contact with crutches, the first time you ever saw crutches, you saw somebody using it to break somebody's head. If they ask you what is this, what would you say? You say it's weapon, because that's the first time you came in contact with it. So when you saw something being used, that time you're seeing a context of use. But that in itself has formed people's statutory meaning of something that got only the contextual meaning of that. So most of the times when we saw money, we don't have the statutory meaning of money. We only saw the contextual meaning of money. We saw that our parents woke up in the morning, early in the morning, went out, came back in the night, and they brought what we call money. So we associated money to working hard. So our context of money is that you have to work hard. You have to go out in the morning, come back in the evening and labor yourself away before you make money. That's number one. Number two, we saw our parents work so hard to make money and then use it to pay for expenses. We never saw them invest money. So our relationship to money is that you make money to spend it. So that also formed our context of money. So in other words, what is money? You must define money statutorily. What does money mean? Without bias, whether you're a Muslim, Christian, China, Chinese, Asian, Black. Let's take away our biases and then look at what money is for the sake of money. Once you solve that particular statutory definition, you are on your way to wealth. So now write this down. How it's possible you have taken a contextual meaning of a big phenomenon or concept as the statutory meaning. If I ask people now what money is, which most of the times I ask in my classes, people tell me money is the means of exchange. And most of the times they stop there, the means of exchange. So to them, money is what you use to get something, whatever that means. But that's not where the definition of money stops. Money, statutorily, is a means of exchange of value. If value is not created, money cannot show up. So you cannot remove value creation from money income. And any process that led to money without value being created is a destruction of wealth. So wealth cannot be said to be created until value is exchanged. And why is this important? The process of creating value increases the quality of the value creator. So if you need to be a medical doctor to learn how to help somebody to become well, the process of going to medical school improves the student itself. So that the person that is going to be the value creator in himself attracts value onto himself. So it's not enough to go and facilitate value. Value must follow you back. And one of the ways value follows you back is when you're a value creator yourself. And that's why I see a lot of people who are brokers. They are broke too. Most of them are brokers. They don't create any value. They just facilitate agency. And then they make deals happen. But because the two parties that is created, the other party that their brokerage is happening, this person created value. This person now came and said, okay, give me the value, I'm going to sell it. And someone needs that value. These two people are more powerful than the broker. So, what it means is this: for money to show up, value must be created. Why is Nigeria having all the money and where the country is broke? Because we don't have indigenous skills that processes our oil. We have foreign experts come with their technology, come into our own land, go into our high seas and drill those oil and process the crude oil to become AGO and PMS, and then we have fuel and diesel. And all of these things, we just collect the money from the expertise. And that's why in 2014, Nigeria was the fastest growing economy in West Africa. At the same 2014, we were the highest level of population as well in the world. So how come our bank, which means our foreign reserve, was growing? The citizens were poor. Because the value process that led to the money was not from our indigenous skills. Am I making sense, guys?
100%. 100%.
Okay, so when I saw the 5 levels of money, what does it mean? It's 5 levels of value chain. Now I'm on crutches, but what good is somebody's life if I have my legs to be doing kekara up and down? People need knowledge from me. People need me to see what I have done well, and that's why you don't need your physical body to create money. You need your physical body for presence on earth, but your body is the platform. So money has levels, not 5 types of money. It's a different topic. 5 levels. The word levels connotes degree of importance. Degree of importance. When I say 5 levels of money. So first of all, money only shows up as a means of exchange of value. So even if say you don't want money, create value, money will find you.
Wow.
If you say, I don't want money, or go and learn a craft, go and learn a trade, go and learn something, and just go and do it free of charge. Just be doing free. People will be If you do so much free, people will be so much that the demand for you will demand for money. You're doing something free. People are getting valuable. People will be coming to come and get that thing from you to a point there's so much demand on you. Some people say, okay, let's come. I will pay you money to talk to me first. I'll pay money to give me this one first. The need for money must show up when value shows up. So stop looking for money. Stop looking for money. And start looking for what money looks for, which is value. What is value? Value is anything that is useful to the user. Value is not what you think you can do to somebody. Value is what becomes useful to someone else. Until what you do is useful to someone else, it's not instrumental to the money. So, I give you an example. If I had met you outside when I was coming in, and I met you outside my office, and you said to me, "Hello, Mr. Ugo, please, I am broke. Can you give me some money?" And I told you, "Well, I don't have enough to give you." Okay? And you said, "Okay." And you walk into my office, and there's nobody in my office. There's no camera to monitor. And you walk into one of my offices here, and you go in there, you see $100,000. How many of you will take it? Most people will not take it. Some people will take it. Those that will not take it, I'll ask you, why wouldn't you take the money? You told me at the gate that you needed money. And I walk into my office, $100,000. The reason why you will not take it is because your conscience will tell you a criminal if you take it. Because you did not create the value for that money. If you take that money without the equivalent value, you're a criminal. That's why in this country, people are riding big cars, big houses. Don't know what they do. He said somebody, the guy just bought a Jeep. The guy just bought a car. And there's nobody knows what anybody is doing in this country. So much money, yet the country is poor. Now, the essence of business is to create value in society. The essence of business is not to make money. It's to create value in the society. If not, Nigeria is awash with money, but the society is decaying. But if you go to Europe, America, you see good roads, good systems, because business creates systems of value chain. So the society is better by business processes. But here, even most people who are listening to my classes are not interested in business. They just want money. That mindset was contextual exposure to your parents going out in the morning, 9 a.m., come back 5 p.m. like they're tired and just some money. What they do, we don't know. We associated labor to money. Secondly, and when money came, what they did was use it to pay bills. Then we formed an idea of money, and that's what's making you to today. You're working so hard, money is not money, because you have a flawed understanding of money. So I think I've taken care of that. So money here is the means of exchange of value. There are 5 levels of them. I am not sure time will be enough for me to explain, because each of them will require breakdown. And
we wouldn't mind if you.
Should I go ahead?
Yes, even if I'm the only person in the class here, I'm good.
Okay. So level, the way I said levels denotes cadence of value, cadence of importance. Level means strata of value. So the first level of money is credibility. I have been living on that for a long time. Credibility. How do you know you're on the lowest level of financial pyramid? You know you're on the lowest level of financial pyramid when you have to have cash to buy anything you want. If you have to pay cash for anything you want, you are at the lowest level. You're one of the poorest men in the world. Today, right now in this hall, in this meeting, I'm going to be speaking on March the 6th in a multinational company. I'll be speaking to about 56 corporate executives, and each of them are paying $500,000 for a 4-hour session. On the 6th of March, I'll be speaking to corporate executives, and there are 56 of them, and each of them is paying $500,000. That's 28 million. And I'm going to speak for 4 hours. How did I get that job? Number one, credibility. Credibility. What is credibility? Write this down. Consistent documentation of your result. Credibility is a consistent documentation of your result. And I want to help you to understand credibility by explaining integrity. Integrity is not credibility. You may have integrity without credibility. Integrity means that your words and your actions match. You do what you say you're going to do. The word integrity came from the root word integral, which means integer, different parts coming together as one. So a man of integrity is a man who has different components of his virtue working together. He's honest, he's truthful, okay? Now, what I said, you may have integrity does not mean you have credibility. If you tell me, if you walk into my office and every day, and there's a security guard at the office, and each time you come into my office every day for 7 days a week, you're walking through that office, you don't sign any register, you come into the office and go, and then one day, the company puts a stipulation that those who come here should only be those who have been coming here for the past 6 months. And you have been coming here for the past 6 months. And then you come there the next time on the 6th month, and the new security guard says you cannot enter. And you tell the security guard that you've been coming here for the past 6 months. Remember, you've been coming here for 6 months, you don't sign any register. There's no name of yours anywhere. And you tell the security guard that has been changed, the new guy, that no, I've been coming here for 6 months. Believe me. Do you have integrity, Kali? Yes, that's true. But is there proof of that integrity? No, you don't have credibility. Wow. If there's no proof of your integrity, credibility is not there. Credibility is a function of documenting what you've done. That's why wealthy people have records. They have receipts, they have invoice. They do their transactions through the bank. The essence of doing the transactions through the bank is to have proof of transaction. You go to the embassy, if you have $4 billion cash in your house, the embassy doesn't want to know how much cash you have. He wants to know the transactions you've been doing. They call the bank to give them bank statements. They're not doubting you're a wealthy man. They just want to have proof of consistency in your transactions. Those things they ask based on the Western culture is that the document will prove your character, not your words against theirs. So credibility is the consistency of documented. When I do training, when I teach people, I have proofs of result. Sometimes because, listen to this, people, you have to generate trust in people. How to generate trust? You have to prove that you're trustworthy by showing proof of evidence of what you've done. If you say what you've done and there's no proof, it creates suspicion, which means a likelihood of deceit. But if you learn how to take documentations and put the things you've done into documents and paper, or whatever it is, or proof of events, that thing has a way of validating your claim. So we are not saying you're lying, but we are not sure what really happened. If the reason why they call, when I accuse somebody of stealing, they call him suspect. The reason why they call him suspect is because that is an allegation until you prove evidence of the event. So when there is no evidence of events, the person becomes suspicious. So if you make a claim of something, that you are a big boy or you're a rich man, nobody will say no. But if you can show proof of asset, proof of income, what it does to the mind is to remove the atom of suspicion by validation with the proof. So there's so many people who don't understand this concept. They don't document their process. Guess what? Africa is one of them. We call our culture folk tale tradition. Once upon a time. I can hear one version of story 16,000 times because there was no original document of the first story. So what does it mean? If Dangote goes to Cussons to buy a car, he walks into Cussons, Dangote that we own, Aliko Dangote, he wouldn't need to bring cash to drive out of Rolls Royce because there's a completely proof of his business all over the world. So he can drive out of that place and then Cussons will be happy he came. Why? Because Dangote's credibility is evident, his integrity is evident. In fact, his credibility is asset. So he drives out of that place without any cash. They will regularize the payment of that car later. They're not going to give it to him free. But he doesn't have to wait to bring cash. Once he walks in there, because of proof of his wealth, they can go with that car. But listen, that's credibility. If I walk into Cussons, my credibility is not that no. They might ask me to bring proof that a bank statement, loan. I have to bring every document necessary before they can allow me to go down. Or what if I have Dangote as my friend? And while I'm there without credibility, without proof of anything, and Dangote calls, they let me drive up that place. The second level of money is called credible relationships. Relationships that has credibility behind it. You see, poor men have relationships because that is not credible. There is National Association of Witches too. That's not credible. So don't think all relationships are equal. No. So the second level of money is that I'm using Dangote's credibility to have access to value without me having to have the same credibility. So beyond that, you don't have money. And there are people in your life who can stand in your gap to make you have access to credible relations. Now, I was in some state one day, and someone that had been in one of my students came and called one of the wife of the House of Assembly in a state, in an oil state. And this woman was a very, very highly connected woman. And then connected doesn't mean she understands money. So I came to her, that woman. She has a big hotel, and she wanted to set up a system in the hotel. The person told her that I can help her do that. But because I understand the concept of money, this woman is the wife of the Speaker of the House of Assembly. She knows all the governors. She knows all the commissioners in different parts. So when I came to this woman, after showing her what to do in the company, meanwhile, before I came, they already told her what my fees are. And that's my fee. That time was about $5,000. So after my session with the woman, we discussed, and I showed her what to do. And when I was about to leave, of course, it's chicken change for her. She was about to write me a check, the equivalent in Naira. I told the woman that, Madam, you have already paid me the money. She said she doesn't understand, that she doesn't remember giving me cash. I said, you have already paid. By reason of who she is, by reason of the authority she has, she's an open doorway to a lot of people. And because money is a means of exchange of value. And when I came to her, in fact, I'm supposed to pay her to teach her. Because if she's added as one of my clientele, my value will go up because of the people that I deal with. So she couldn't believe it. I said, Madam, you've already paid. And I mean everyone. So she stayed there. She couldn't believe it. She was looking at me. Right there, she's older than I am. She has more influence than I am. She has more political power. Right there, that young man that came in to teach this woman about how to put system, and I showed her what to do, and I even told her that I'm going to help her implement what I taught her. As she was about to validate the exchange of value of what I taught her, I denied that cash. I stopped that exchange of cash, which means she's still in her psychology, feels indebted. She started calling me mentor. Right there, my position changed to teacher to mentor because she's still having to owe me. You know what she said to me? She said, this is amazing. I'm going to tell my friends about you. She picked up the call and called over 25 to 30 of her friends to just come and meet her mentor who's helping her. That right there, we got signed up for my courses, over $5,000 by 30 people. same category. In the natural law of exchange, she still owes me. So in a way, to satisfy that exchange, because nature abhors vacuum, she was propelled to activate her net worth. She made calls. If I didn't know the value of money, I'd have collected that $5,000 and she would have felt justified. She would have said, James, please show him the door. And that would have been the end of that. So your concept of money determines how much of it you have. Now, the reason why most of the times I charge for my courses, and I charge very well, is because sometimes price is a communication of value proposition. It's not the value itself. Sometimes price has a way of sending a signal that this is what this is worth. In as much as it is not, it might be worth less or but it's some sense of value. They can't even add value to what they're receiving. You know, I can teach this something I'm teaching right now in a paid class, and they'll get more value than you guys.
100%.
There's something they put in, and their disposition to learn will be more than because they give something they want to take copious notes. So the second level of money is credible relationship. Credible relationship. Not all relationships are credible. The third level of money is character. Character is the consistency of good conduct. The consistency of personal good conduct. Character. That's why most people that want to invest in companies, they want to look for companies that the owners have character, because good investors are not thinking about profit, they're thinking about the security of their money. Character, which is the quality of your nature, of your good virtue. So character is the consistency of the personal conduct, while credibility is the documentation of your transaction to show consistency of results. So character can open doors for you. Character will make people trust you, to relate with you. But character is not proof of competence. Character is not proof of, character is more like integrity. But if we are going to transact based on character, we have to have proof of transaction so that we can document our transaction. So most of the times, character is the foundation of business. Is the unequivocal foundation of all successful business. The character and the conduct of a person determines how much a person's life can grow financially. The job I got with this multinational company, an American company, was because someone's character stood in my stead. He said, I know this man, his quality of knowledge is top notch. His knowledge, he has a texture of royalty. He doesn't just teach you, he brings to your consciousness a certain awareness of the quality of life that you may not have thought. So it's not about what he teaches, it's what he makes you to believe that allows you to use what he teaches to activate a certain level of wealth. Someone's character makes someone else to trust you. So we come and train our board of directors in America. I have about 6 board of directors, train them from this same table. And that then open the door to multiple transactions. But remember, credibility is intangible. You don't touch it. Credible relationship is intangible. You don't touch it. Character is intangible. You don't touch it. And the fourth level of money is competence. You can't be broke and incompetent at the same time. There must be something you can do. There must be something you can do. I mean, nobody should talk about, I don't have money to eat, I don't have money for fuel, I don't have money for transportation. Go and push barrel. So that's the worst case. Push barrel. Go and do bricklaying. If your legs is broke, you don't have legs, go to the motor park and help the beggars collect their money. Just help them count. There's always something anybody can do. There is always something. It is a complete disregard to God to think yourself as. It's an insult to the source of who you are. insult to the spark of divinity to consider yourself poor, or even consider any man poor. Because every idea is as powerful as the source of the idea. If you came out of God, how can you? God cannot create poverty. You can't say somebody is poor. That is an anomaly. It's a statement of disregard of the source of the person. Even when the person doesn't know he's wealthy. For example, that's why I have respect for people, regardless of whether they know they have respect for themselves. So I can't see you and disrespect you because I know where you came from. Even though you don't know that you came out of God, you were made in the likeness of God. You're not aware of your constituent. You're not aware that you have a mind. You're not aware that you have imagination. You're not aware you have memory. You're not aware you have virtues. Even if you're not aware and you behave as a beast, because I know where you came from, I cannot disrespect you because I know the source of how you came to life.
Wow.
So how can you not be able to do something when other animals that are lesser than you can hunt to eat? The lion can hunt to eat. Rat can go out, strategize in the night, come out of gutter, dodge somewhere, wait, check, come out, smell, check something and eat around. You, human being, you don't have money. Shame.
And Ugo, sometimes you put poison for the rat. It will leave the one you put poison and go and take the one you didn't put poison.
And let me. So, as I don't bring poverty, don't bring that. Let me tell you, I hate poverty with a passion.
Oh dear.
Should I continue?
Go ahead. We have a few more minutes.
Okay.
Wait,
so some people, let me tell you how wonderful rats are. Because the Bible said something very powerful. He said the sparrow that have no any value, God takes care of it. The flowers that are beautiful on the road, that have no value, that they will put inside the incinerator and turn to bellies and burn, they are beautiful and the rain takes care of it. How much more you? Let me tell you how powerful a rat is. Most rats go to your dustbin to eat. Your dustbin to eat. What do you do in your dustbin? The best part of your food is kept in the dustbin. You cut the yam, you move it and put in the dustbin. All those wonderful green things you're washing inside the dustbin, that's where they are. That's why they're looking fat. And out of poverty of knowledge, you've removed all the nutrients of your food, dumped it in the trash. The rat came and ate what you're supposed to. That's how. That's why people are sick. So, the fourth level of money is competence. Competence is what you can do. What can you do? There's so much you can do. So much. I don't even want to literally. There are 6 levels of expertise. That's another class. 6 levels of expertise. Now, the 5th level of money is cash. Competence is a complex training. It's competence, okay, there are 6 levels of expertise. Okay, we're going to talk about another class. So that's because some people don't have the level of competence to give them high-ticket jobs. They don't have a certain level of proficiency and attract a certain kind of people. It's the high-value competence, and there's low-value competence. So I can do the same thing, you can get paid high. I was teaching one day in an oil company. I was paid to teach on team building. And trust me, my angles are out of this world. I have a different angle to life. And my strength is not a better knowledge. I have a different knowledge. So what makes you powerful? I said, I can be compared to nothing. You compare me to my source, God, not to anybody else. And that brings freshness. So I can say the same thing you say with a different freshness of subtlety and royalty. And it will connote and drive a different type of awareness and a different type of outcome. And that's why in Proverbs chapter 25 verse 2, it says it is the glory of God to conceal a matter and the honor of kings to search, which means study is a royal behavior. It takes a king to study. When I see men who don't study, I see men who live like beasts into their kings. You don't have to want to make money to study. You don't want to have to, it's not about making business. Study is what gives you life. Your brain keeps it alive and makes it more, fertile. So, oh God, I lost my thought. It's okay. So,
hey, you were saying something on team building for an oil company.
So I was teaching an oil company about 2-3 years ago, and I was supposed to teach on team building, on how to create a synergistic team, because they wonder how I'm able to do what I do without legs, and I have the biggest team in everything that I do. I know how to assemble talent together and make it work. It's very difficult. So I was teaching it about the synergistic process of team building. It was amazing. Right there in the class, the CEO, the chairman of the oil company was in that class. And this oil company is one of the biggest Nigerian listed in the London Stock Exchange. As I was teaching, someone asked me a question that borders on leadership. Right in that class, I told them that the question the guy asked is outside what they paid for. What they paid me for was team building, not leadership. That if I have to answer that question, I have to raise another invoice for me to answer the question. And I asked the chairman, should I go ahead and answer? He said, yes. I raised an invoice there before I answered the question. And that was paid right there before I left.
Oh dear.
So there is levels of resistance that colludes reality. When Kali Kishon called me for this, it's not a favor I'm doing to him, it's an honor. I have to drive to my office. I make the day available. As long as he wants me, there is no limit.
Thank you so much, Ugo. Thank you so very much.
So the fifth level of money level is cash. Remember, this is the first time I'm mentioning something tangible. Why? Why anything physical is obsolete. The biggest things in life are the things you can't touch. So cash is the least of money. Now, if you look at the other four, if you don't have credibility, if you don't have credible relationships, if you don't have character, if you don't have competence, and you have a lot of cash, you're a criminal, you stole the money. Because it's impossible to have the last without the four. Competence is doing something to get it for an exchange. It's in this country that people have too much cash. But in fact, there's a video that I saw. They said the most corrupt countries in the world are Africa, it's Nigeria and Pakistan. Said the number one is Nigeria. No, number one is Pakistan. Number two is Nigeria. They said the number one is actually Nigeria. It's Pakistan is paid Nigerians corruption to let them be number one. So cash is the least of what money is. How do you know you're a wealthy man? If you can get your life needs done without having cash. For example, calling me to come and teach this time from 7:30 to 9:30 for the 82 hours, 18 minutes.
It's 10 o'clock already.
Yes. He commanded, and no cash has exchanged hand, but money has exchanged. And I have the competence of knowledge, of language, to explain my thoughts. I have the linguistic prowess, the lexical understanding to deliver a succinct, beautiful thought in my mind and break it in intelligible words such that even a baby of 2 years old can understand deep knowledge because of my lexical stuff. That's competence. So I want you to know that you can be wealthy. You are wealthy. The only thing left for you is to turn your virtues of God into values to mankind. Without losing the essence of the virtue, life will be an awesome experience for you. Listen, gentlemen, I'm living this life at my own terms. I am happy and grateful that I'm here. And tonight, I know somebody right here has been sparked or inspired, knowing that it is through you that the earth bears witness of God's presence. You are that which God wants to make the world see. through your body and your spirit, God can speak to the earth. Nothing exists without you. You are the reason why the earth was made. Before man was made, everything else was put in place for him to come. He made matter and space. He made things, but when he was about to make his spirit, he thought about you. You are that God you're trying to prove. Please be it. Thank you.
Wow. Well, thank you very much. I just can't thank you enough. But I want the audience to thank you themselves by maybe picking 2, 3, 4 people to tell you what they've learned so that you know that this $1 million, impartation was not in vain. I know you are burning your waist, you are burning your sleep, you are burning your time, and all those. But I know you know that is not in vain. So please, I just don't want those who are writing, but I want you to write, yes, because we are going to use your testimonials for this program. But I want you to write, because everything you wrote with your name, I'm going to send it back to Ugo to see what is. But before that, I want you to unmute yourself and then tell him what you've learned today. Yeah? The first person, go ahead, quickly.
Okay, thank you very much, sir. My name is Augustine. I want to really appreciate Mr. Ugo. He has, in fact, spoken about a lot of things that has touched me as a person. First, he said something, in fact, he defined the biology of poverty and the chemistry of wealth. And I can imagine that he said he is the image. In fact, when you ask him the first question, that what is the barrier of his disability with what he's currently doing, I can still remember quite well. And he said he is the image and likeness of, he's a God. Like, he has likened himself to a God because he understood himself. He knows that this is who he is. And he has to perform the duty God has assigned to him to do. And then he went further to explain a lot of other factors. And he made mention of your mind. If your mind is working and people are benefiting, you are not impaired. This is to say, if you as a person are physically strong and then your mind is impaired, there's nothing you can do about that. So it has been able, I am able to imagine myself trying to remove myself from being mentally impaired to activate my brain to walk far. I can impact, like a lot of things about our genetics, that is our environment. He said something about our condition.
Internet is loving. Beautiful thought by our brother. Okay,
how we condition our minds. So, at the end of the day.
Oh, let's take Esther Samuel. Sorry.
Okay, sir.
Yeah.
Okay, sir. Thank you, Mr. Ugo. I've been wanting to meet you, and thank God that I have the opportunity today. I'm really blessed. I've learned a lot, so much. Okay, sir. What I've learned today is, one, that we are the express image of God. So we are like God. And then you gave an example. You said you were asked to train a company on team building, but you took it from a different angle. That blew me away completely, because you said that you didn't teach it like every other person would teach it. You took it from a different angle. I'd like to know the angle though. So and then what you taught us again about poverty, that poverty is wicked and that nobody should be poor. That one just scattered my head completely, because we have idolized poverty to the point where everybody is holding the money like they're going to die. But I've learned so much about money today, that money is not just that thing you exchange maybe to buy something, we have to work hard for it. It's the exchange of value. And that is what I've learned this night, that if I must have money, I must create
Thank you.
its value.
Thank you, Ugo. Before we forget, what are your handles on Facebook, Twitter, and all those, and how do they...
Okay, you can type it out. It's Ugochukwu Omeogu. You can type my full name. You Google my name at Ugochukwu Omeogu. That's for Ugochukwu Omeogu.
Okay.
That's for Instagram. Then it's the same thing for Facebook. Just my name.
Okay.
Simple.
Okay. So you type in, you Google his name, then you see.
Just go to Instagram. Just type Ugochukwu Omeogu.
Okay. Let's take one or two more people, and then we round up. Okay. Alaji, do quickly.
Well, sincerely speaking, I'm greatly happy to have been opportune to listen to this lecture. Can you hear me?
Yes.
This is something we've been looking for a long period of time. I mean, people who can use spanners, screwdrivers, and whatever tools they can to create the minds of people, to make them understand who they really are. Not just we're not trees, we're not animals, we are different, but they have to be people who will remind us of who we are. This is the same thing I have just been opportune to have here with Dr. Ugochukwu. I'm sincerely happy with this best opportunity. You can continue with this, and if you go anywhere on this earth, this is what everybody needs. I mean, to have this self-consciousness of you being representative of God Almighty, because we are His representatives, and if we are not behaving just like He is, so creative, thank you very much. Anyway, there are not enough words to express how I feel about this opportunity, sincerely speaking.
Thank you, Alaji.
Thank you, Alaji.
Quickly.
Hello.
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 Hello. Good evening.
Can you hear me? Good evening.
Oh, okay.
Now go ahead.
Okay, my name is Biliok. Thank you so much, Mr. Ugochukwu, for this awesome enlightenment. I actually never did see. I really learned a lot, but let me just buttress on the levels of money we talked about. You talked about credibility, credible relationships, character, competence, and then cash. I never did see integrity from an angle where I was never to compare it with competence or with credibility. He said integrity does not mean credibility, and consistent documentation of my result is what credibility is. And to me, that was actually an awesome enlightenment. And you did say that it is impossible to have the last, which is cash, without actually going through the others, which is credibility, credible relationships, character, and competence. And to me, it was just so amazing. Thank you so much, sir, for your time. Thank you for this wonderful moment. I really do appreciate it. God bless you.
Thank you.
We just take Kehinde and Patrick because they've unmuted for a long time. Just these are the two people we take, and then we round up so we can leave you to go. Very quickly, Kehinde, before Patrick rounds up for us. Kehinde, go ahead.
Finally. Yes, finally. Thank you so much, sir, for your time. It has been an awesome experience. This is the first time I got realistic and practical ways to actually achieve my dreams and goals. And the importance of mentorship, the importance of character, and then our spiritual consciousness, our God's consciousness, our definiteness of purpose, why I'm here. So those are the things I'm going to start looking forward to, the reason why I'm here, my purpose. Then I'm going to work on my character. I'm saying a different experience, and I hope that I can be a part of this training again. So thank you so much for your time, sir. I'm really, really grateful.
Thank you very much. Now, before Patrick talks, Ugo, can we have your office line? Is it possible, like we have the office? I'm not talking about your personal line, the office line, so that those who want to have dealing with Joseph's Consulting, Merignos, and all those, they will be opportune to talk to you. Yes, I'm hearing you.
Okay, the office line works in different kind of ways. I will
okay.
My business is more like it's like a Rolls Royce type of business. Okay. There's always specific need. There's no walking into my office.
Right.
So I think a guaranteed way to reach out to me was to say, call Kali, Cussons, that I want to meet Mr. Ogo. Then Kali will ask you what you want. Okay. And direct that particular thing to me. You call the office line, but I'm still gonna leave it. I'll leave my email. Okay. I'll leave my email. I'll leave my office line. But the better way is to get you to call me, so that coming from you exceeds all the processes of having someone coming in without proper guidance. So the email is josephconsult@yahoo.com. Joseph.
Not have S. That is it consult?
Consult, no S. Joseph Consult. Okay. Joseph Consult at yahoo.com. Okay. And then the office line, and it's also a WhatsApp line, so you can send a message on the office line indicating, yes, thank you there. The office line is 081 2118 9720. 9720. Okay. Yes, it's a WhatsApp. You can send a WhatsApp. But if you really want to reach me, I think the best, use the credible relationship of Dr. Cussons. That puts you in my space. Just say, I want to talk to him. I know for him to pass the call, we'll see whether or not, he knows me very well, whether or not it's something that someone reached me out today on Facebook and I wanted to be part of my mentorship. I sent him to the handle, go and watch the videos there. If you still want me, then we can talk about it. Right now, go piece in terms of clarity. So there's a lot of video resources on my Instagram. There's a lot of video resource on my Facebook. Come to my Fans of Ugo. So yeah, take this Fans of Ugo. That's a fan page. Fans of Ugochukwu more on my Facebook. Fans of Ugo. Send me a request. I'll approve it. It's a private group. So you can hit me on, send a request, I'll approve of it. So you guys can, there's a lot of resource in that place. But if you want to reach me personally, talk to Dr. Cussons. Yes. And there's a lot of resources on this. So you're coming to me because you're ready to take action in your life. But the preliminary study and all of that, you should be able to take care of that. But if you reach Dr. Kali, I think if Dr. Kali calls me on your behalf, consider it as a relationship started.
Thank you, Ugo. So, Patrick, quickly, just let's round up with you.
Okay, fantastic. Ugochukwu Omeogu, I'm yet to be disappointed. I am yet to be disappointed. You teach the ignorant, you advise the wise.
Right, yes.
It is indeed a mental revolution.
Right.
It's a mental revolution. There's something I always hold very close to my heart about education. When they say education, it's not the learning of facts that you go and regurgitate for your professor to pass you, but it is the training of the mind to think. The thinking process, especially when it's done in consciousness, it can be an amazing thing. I have learned a lot from you over the years. You can attest to that. And every time I listen to you, it's as if I've never listened to it before. It's just like it comes out new and it renews me. And I thank you so much for that. And one of the beautiful things is what you said about money. you say stop looking for money and start looking for what money looks for. That's amazing, because a lot of people have been chasing money for years. But money is all around us. It's in consciousness. And like you said, it may not be the most important thing, but it ranks up there like oxygen. So we have to feed it, we have to live it. So I thank you so much for this. It's quite interesting that I happen to be the last one to speak on this matter, and I feel blessed to do so. Continue to touch lives. It's just what you do. Thank you.
I love you, Patrick. Thank you for that. That was a lot of eulogy there. That's a lot of praise there. I'm so humbled by it. Thank you, Patrick. You've been an amazing person. I'm glad our path crossed. I'm glad we're still together. You're a man I respect all the time. You always thrill me with your level of insight. Thank you so much. That is very generous of you.
Thank you.
So thank you, everyone. Thank you so much, Ugo. Thank you. We cannot just pay you. We can thank you enough. Every Monday, 7:30, this happens. Success Algorithm Show with Dr. Kali Cussons. You can click on that link there, stbscdu.org/Success Algorithm TV, to be able to join the Success Algorithm newsletter so that you can always be reminded. But the same link that you use there, the same link every 7:30 every Monday evening. Ugo, God bless you. Remember, it's celebrated always. So we talk later. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Have a good day.
And you too.